still connected with Uncle Ibo White, but he thankfully joins us now. Good morning to you, Uncle Ibo.
Good morning, gorgeous. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you.
Where have you been?
I went to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Uncle Ibo.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk. We'll talk later.
I brought you
Oh, by the way, whilst you were gone, we put out our next play is Just the Tip.
Yep.
And it runs on from 24th of this month. But now here is my presentation for this morning.
Right.
Here are some of the traits that characterize a Ghanaian. They may not apply to every Ghanaian, but I'm sure that you would have encountered some of those traits in the Ghanaians you have related to yourself. Here we go. Number one, Ghanaians tend not to put what they know into practice. A Ghanaian's qualification often has no bearing on his performance. Put a Ghanaian with very impressive qualification in anything in charge of an organization that operates in his field of qualification, and you will be disappointed with his performance. I do not know if the way we are taught in school in Ghana has anything to do with it, but the Ghanaian does not practice what he holds a qualification for. It is almost as if we make a distinction between what we know and what we do. Take any company or any sector of our economy that is in a mess and check the background and qualifications of those who have been in charge, and you will discover that on paper, there is no reason the company or the sector should be in trouble. Number two, Ghanaians tend to say the right thing but do the wrong thing. Hear a Ghanaian speak and you will be impressed. But watch what he does and you'll be very disappointed. Listen to the Ghanaian speak, listen to lectures and speeches of the Ghanaian, and you would wonder why we are in such a mess as a country. The problem is that there is no correlation between the things we say and the terrible things we do. Number three, Ghanaians do not know how to say, I don't know. So I am headed for Akosombo. It is my first time making that trip. And to make things more difficult, I had to travel at night. I used the Dodowa Road instead of the Michelle Camp Road, because I needed to transact some business along the Dodowa Road. I come to the Akuse T Junction from Dodowa, and I stop and ask the first person who comes along, Sir, which way to Akosombo, please? Do I turn left or right? Without any hesitation, he says, oh, turn right. As it turns out, the right turn brings me towards Tema. The man did not know which way would lead me to Akosombo, but he's a Ghanaian. He could not say, I don't know. When the Ghanaian does not know, he would rather make something up than admit that he does not know. Number four, appearances are more important to the Ghanaian than substance. The average Ghanaian wants you to see him as more successful than he really is. So you'll find a Ghanaian driving a car he cannot afford to maintain and living a lifestyle he needs to steal to sustain, all because people must see him as very well-to-do when he is not. It is also the reason for expensive funerals in Ghana. Let a poor, struggling family become bereaved, and they will impoverish themselves further just to impress with a funeral. We do the same thing with weddings. To keep appearances up, the Ghanaian does not mind borrowing or lying or stealing just to create the impression that he is doing far better than he really is doing, and that applies even at the national level. Number five, Ghanaians do not know how to say no to your face. So I need sponsorship for a production. I approach the person responsible for granting sponsorships in a big, thriving company. He receives me very warmly and assures me that he would definitely make sure I get a sponsorship. But he tells me he just needs to mention it to his boss, and that I should be assured that it is a done deal. I should check with him next week. I leave in very high spirits and report to my team that we have sponsorship from this company. We all rejoice. The following week, I call on him. He he is still very reassuring and tells me that unfortunately his boss was not available last week, and so I should give him a day or two. 2 days later, I call on him, and again, with all the assurance he can muster, he tells me that something came up, and so his boss has not given the go-ahead yet. But he assures me again that I should not be worried at all, because once he has recommended the deal, it is done. Meanwhile, the date for the production sneaks up on me. Still, more assurances, but no results. The production comes and goes, and still no sponsorship. About a year later, I meet a colleague of this man at a function, and I tell him that I came to your company looking for sponsorship. He bursts into laughter and says, I know, my colleague told me that he was not interested. Beware when a Ghanaian gives you any assurance for any help you need from him. He may not have any intention of helping you. Number 6, Ghanaians tend to sing the praise of those who do not deserve any praise. A man shirks his responsibility to his children. The children are virtually raised by strangers. Their school fees are catered for by strangers. Then he dies. And come and hear the tributes, the glowing tributes his children read to him. And that is a Ghanaian. Now, because of this trait of heaping praise on those who do not deserve praise in Ghana, our leaders are often not aware that they are failing. And finally, number 7. When you hear a Ghanaian complain against or criticize someone in a position of authority, it is not because he thinks he can do better, but because he wants the opportunity to take advantage of that position too. Because of this trait in the Ghanaian, we do not go from a mediocre leader to a better leader, but we go to a more mediocre leader. We go from a bad leader to a worse leader. One of my adopted sisters was a tutor in a big secondary school here in Accra. I visited her in the staff common room often and heard how they hated the headmistress. The assistant headmaster in particular was very scathing in his criticism of the leadership style of the headmistress. I heard a number of the tutors express how much they wished the assistant head would be the headmaster instead. They were sure that he would turn the school around. Then the headmistress resigned abruptly on health grounds, and the assistant head became the headmaster. As soon as his position was confirmed, he unleashed a reign of terror on the tutors. He was more guilty of everything he had accused the headmistress of, and he looted the resources of the school whenever he could. Beware of the Ghanaian when he's running down someone in the position he wants to be in, because he is very likely to be worse in that leader. If you don't believe me, check what our leaders say when they are in opposition and what they do when they come to power. And those are 7 traits that, from my experience, characterize the Ghanaian. Why don't you make up your own list and let's see how much we agree. And Mavi, that's my presentation.
This is just a tip.
Yeah.
May God deliver us. Uncle Ibo, thank you very much for food for thoughts.
You're welcome. I missed you, and it's good to hear from you.
Oh, good to hear from you too, Uncle Ibo. Please go ahead and have a good day. That's Uncle Ibo White. I'll tell you about his latest play, Just the Tip, in a bit. But let's go for the Joy Business Minutes, brought to you by Consolidated Bank Ghana, CBG. We stand with you, and Magdan Aviation, your dependable private aviation solution.